Coming up, the NBA lottery does what we all expected and gave us, well, something to talk about. We're going to talk about NBA conspiracies and you, plus a Boston sports tragedy, Jason Tatum's Achilles in serious question. What does that mean for the Celtics short and long term? Are the Warriors cooked? Will the Pacers wrap it up? All that and more on Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA, your daily source for all things NBA from the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day, being an everyday or hanging out with us Monday through Friday as we talk all things NBA. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I host Locked On Nuggets as well as a podcast called Buckets. I'm joined by Haize from Locked On Bulls. He's also got, I think, 700 podcasts about the Chicago sports scene. If you are a Chicago, I want to make this clear. If you love Chicago sports, you should go follow Haize. If you hate Chicago, you should also go follow Haize. He'll give you a lot to talk about on his podcasts. No Doug Branson today. He's at the NBA draft lottery. He was going to be covering the events, but unfortunately, we've received word that he's just in a local bar in Chicago drinking and crying. So he'll be there throughout the duration as the Hornets slide one spot back to 4 in what might be a 3-spot lottery draft. All right. On today's show, we're going to talk about if the Pacers will wrap it up. Can the Thunder ride their momentum to a Game 5 win? We're going to get into what happened in Boston and the wildness for New York, as well as the unbearable sadness for the Celtics coming out of that game. We'll talk about the Warriors just completely getting a little bit exposed without Steph Curry in Game 4. But we start today, Haize, with what's on everybody's topic sheet, the NBA draft lottery. The Dallas Mavericks secure the 1 spot in the lottery. They have the opportunity to draft Cooper Flagg or someone else if Nico Harrison chooses. That's my preferred outcome, is that Nico gets the number 1 pick and then is like, doesn't work hard enough. Body fat's too high. Ace Bailey. That's like my favorite outcome in all this, is if Ace Bailey is the number 1 pick. But the real question here is that after trading Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and a bag of Skittles, shout out Max Christie, this is the outcome. What was your reaction when they announced the results and the Mavericks got the number 1 pick?
You know, I tend to be a logical person. Not that I don't believe conspiracy theories, but I do. But I tend to always err on the side of logic first, right? But I don't know how this can feel like anything other than a conspiracy and rigged. Anybody who's saying that it's rigged, like, they're never beating the rigged allegations now. And I think that the key thing here is that if you trade your star to the Lakers, you get the number 1 overall pick following. When the Pelicans traded AD to the Lakers, they got Zion. Now they sent Luka to the Lakers, they get Cooper Flagg, as long as Nico Harrison doesn't do any funny business, which you don't put anything past Nico Harrison. But it was just a reaction of complete shock. But then it was like, you know what, that tracks. That tracks. It is what it is.
I gotta write something about this, because my reaction was basically, okay, I know 2 things. There's 2 things I know. A conspiracy to rig the lottery does not make sense. If you were going to rig it, why would you allow as much transparency as you do? Why would you hire Ernst & Young to oversee it, an accounting firm whose entire business model depends on their integrity? And we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar business here in Ernst & Young. It's like the greatest accounting firm in the world. Okay? So, all right, I'm of the belief that money fixes just about anything that you want in this world, fair or not. I'm of that belief. Okay, you're going to pay Ernst & Young enough. All right, fine. you have to be able to do this in such a way that it's believable for both ownership to not think that they're getting screwed, that the other owners are not getting screwed here. They all have to buy into the system as well, or they have to be in on it and complacent and be like, yeah, that's fine. And you have to fool the media. And no one that is involved in this process can leak it. No one. No one can go to a reporter and say, I know something. No one can feel the weight of what's happening and be like, this is a massive conspiracy to defraud the public. And the risk of it is that if exposed, your multi-billion-dollar sports league is rendered corrupt, subject to federal investigation and federal felonies for fraud. All of the lost integrity of the game, the whole thing goes up if it's proven that you rigged this from a conspiracy standpoint. On the other hand, Haize, how am I supposed to look at this sequence of events? They trade Luka Doncic for a 30-whatever-old Anthony Davis injury-plagued player, 1 first, and Max Christie, specifically to the Lakers. And then this happens. What am I supposed to do with that? Like, how am I supposed to, like, how? After, okay, the Cavs got LeBron. You know what, though? The Cavs were the worst team. Like, that made sense.
Yeah.
All right, the Bulls got Derrick Rose. Weird. Okay, but life works in mysterious ways. The Pelicans got Zion after trading Anthony Davis. Very suspect, but you know what? The Pelicans were terrible. Sure. This one? A 1.8% chance that the team that traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers, the league's most profitable franchise, wound up with the number 1 pick. My brain, I know how insane a conspiracy would be, but I don't know how to look at these results and think about anything else.
I don't think that you can. Like, I mean, in fairness, I don't think you can look at this and legitimately say, like, okay, I mean, listen, anybody who walks away with it, and that's why I said they're never beating allegations. Whether it's honestly rigged or not, we'll never know. But they're never, when stuff like this happens, you're never beating those allegations at all. I will say this, though, for the second year in a row, a team that was in the play-in gets the number 1 overall pick, while a team that made the decision before the season started to tank gets pushed all the way back, which is crazy. But maybe we're seeing that, like, when you ethical tanking. I think that's what it was called before, ethical tanking. Maybe that's the thing there.
All right, let's get the reaction from Locked On Mavericks. As you can understand, Nick Angstad and his coach Isaac Harris are ecstatic. The question is, what do you do with the pick? And Isaac Harris has thoughts.
Take him and be done with it.
This sets you up for now, and it sets you up for the future. That's it.
And you have, you hope that Anthony Davis is fully healthy and all the stuff, but no matter what path you take now, let's say next week Dumont comes out and fires Nico and gives somebody else the keys and says, all right, we're going to go a different direction. Like, we're going to slow the timeline down and build around our young guys. Well, now you have a front court pairing in the 2 Duke guys and Derek Lively and Cooper Flagg. That's going to be amazing to build around. Let's say Nico stays for a handful of years, and it's like, it doesn't matter what timeline you're on right now. He fits it. Think about the playoff experience he can get next year if you bring back this whole team. I mean, they can make a deep run in the playoffs, and we're talking rookie year Cooper Flagg getting run in the in the playoffs, playing with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving.
I don't know what they're supposed to do here. There's another clip of them talking about the possibility of trading it for Giannis, and I'm not going to rule that out. Hey, by the way, guess what shoe company Giannis is signed to?
Nike.
That's correct. Haize, what are your thoughts on how the Mavericks should approach this after landing the number 1 pick and potentially Cooper Flagg?
I mean, I think getting Cooper Flagg puts them immediately on the path right back. Like, they now have a core. Derek Lively, Cooper Flagg, that's a nice core. You still got AD here. We know Kyrie's going to miss the majority of next season, but it puts you now on the path. Whereas the Mavs are on this thing where, hey, they could be good, they could be bad with AD there. You never know he's going to be healthy. It now gives you something to build around without that and towards the future. So, hey, not the Mavs. Dallas got Page and Cooper in the WNBA and NBA. It must be really nice to be in Dallas right now.
Must be. All right. We'll talk more about the lottery later this week. I want to get Haize's thoughts on the other teams, including his Chicago Bulls not getting the good spot there. We'll talk about that tomorrow on Locked On NBA. Coming up, whereas good news is Dallas got, the Celtics got as bad of news with Jason Tatum. The worst outcome possible. They lose game 4, and Jason Tatum might be done for the season. We'll talk about that coming up on Locked On NBA. Today's show is brought to you by Hungry Root. Everyone in my house always has something going on. I call this busy season. I don't have a lot of time to go grocery shopping or to cook healthy meals at home, and that's why we got to use Hungry Root. I had I had a kids choir concert yesterday. We have soccer practice today, then a band concert tomorrow. We're running all over the place. I need meals that are quick, easy, and I know what to cook, and that's why Hungry Root's so great. It's like having your own personal shopper and nutritionist wrapped into one. They take care of the grocery shopping and meal planning, offering personalized recommendations based on your tastes and health goals. They're going to tailor your orders based on what you like and what you don't love. It gets smarter every single time, so you're able to get closer to the meal plan you want. Take advantage of this exclusive deal. You get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/lockedonnba and use code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA for 40% off and a lifetime free item. We're also brought to you today by Monarch Money. If you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did my money go? Then Monarch Money is for you. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. But Monarch Money comes in, and it's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. My wife is an instructor at a college, and so she doesn't have a paycheck in the summer. And so we've got to be able to track our accounting very closely. Like, we've got to be able to keep an idea of how we're going to get through those lean months, and then how we're going to budget during the year to prepare for those months, much like the grasshopper in that old story, or not the grasshopper, the wiser one in that. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery, and ouch, that was a lot. So now I budget smarter and I save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LockedOnNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LockedOnNBA for half off your first year. We'll be right back on Locked On NBA. Back here on Locked On NBA, thanks for joining us, making us part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us. Matt Moore alongside Haize. Doug Branson is somewhere trying to justify it's going to be fine, and when they get Ace Bailey, so it's gonna be fine. Nothing can go wrong, Doug. All right, Haize. Not a great night for Boston. Not an awesome night for the Boston Celtics. They take the loss in Game 4, 121-113. They blow a significant second half lead, but the big story is the loss of Jason Tatum. Tatum planted and came up, grabbing his ankle, spinning around on court. He was taken in a wheelchair off court and was seen crying, going back to the locker room, obviously upset. It's an absolutely horrible situation. How severe is it? We don't know yet, but let's hear from Locked On Celtics for his reaction from John Corrales.
The only hope to me is that it's not so serious that it costs him next season. This is the trouble with these injuries that happen here now in May. These Achilles injuries, if it takes 6 months, 8 months, well, 6 months brings us into November, December, 8 months, January, February. We might not see Jason Tatum until the All-Star break. Best case scenario is it's a strain. It's something that doesn't need surgery, a summer off, and he could be back. That could be a best case scenario, but I'm saying that more in a hopeful manner as opposed to what I think the reality is.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of optimism here. Hoping against hope. I looked this up, Haize. Tatum has played the second most games and the most minutes since 2019. It is unsurprising to me given the load that he's had to carry, constantly playing basketball. He was so awesome in Game 4 too. That's the other part of this. Is like he was tremendous. It was an awesome game between him and Jalen Brunson. Tatum goes for 42, 8, and 4. Brunson 39, 5, and 12. This to me, Haize, if this is as bad as we think it is, and again, we're recording this on Tuesday morning, we haven't gotten word yet on the MRI confirm. if this is as bad as it looks like, this isn't just the end of the season for the Celtics. It's the end of this era. They're probably going to have to move. You can't go into next season with this level of luxury tax. They'll have to move off of Drew. They may have to move off of Horford. They may have to move off of Porzingis. So they're going to have to reshape financially because they're not going to be able to justify this kind of spending for a team that isn't in serious playoff contention for a title. So what is your reaction to the Tatum injury and what this means for Boston, both short and long term?
I mean, short term, it puts them in a situation to where I think that they have they just need to sell off assets. Like Horford, what is the free agent at the end of the season? I'd be looking to trade Drew. I'd even be looking to trade KP. And at this point, swallow your medicine for the 2026 season. I think Boston, I believe, owns their own first round pick outright. Not to say that they should be outwardly tanking, but there's no real point at this point to go all in, I would think, and try to completely reconstruct that roster because you still have to worry about what Jason's going to look like when he comes back. So I think in the short term, it definitely affects, what their plans were probably this offseason, maybe reconstructing that roster around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now for the future, it puts an even bigger highlight maybe on how you build that team because listen, I get it. If it's the worst case, you're looking at probably 16 to 18 months as far as recovery, but then it takes time to be yourself again after that. If he's even able to be back 100% to himself. So the Boston Celtics are really going to sit down and look at this thing and figure out what they want to do for the 2025-26 season. And then based off how the recovery is going and things like that, how'd you build that team is important. You're not going to have the same amount of space to say, hey, we just need Tatum, Brown, a couple of really high level role players and bench guys. You're probably going to have to change that. And Jaylen Brown needs to be ready to really take over that mantle maybe going forward until Jason Tatum is back to 100%.
On the one hand, Jason Tatum was the biggest reason they were able to leverage the defense, force them to collapse, and then kick to shooters. On the other hand, this team has won because of its three-point supremacy. That's been their biggest reason for success. Jaylen Brown doesn't have to be a premier scorer. Now, he's having a terrible time. His knee's hurting. Yeah. He's been rough this entire season, honestly. But I do think they're live to win Game 5. I think they can extend the series back to 6. I just can't see them getting out of Game 6 in the Garden with a win.
Yeah. Right now, they're not winning this series. There's no point. Like The Knicks smell blood in the water. You could tell also that Boston is like, you could tell by the players and the way that they talk. They're really feeling this as they should. The guy went down. That video of him like getting pushed to the back and his reaction, that was heartbreaking. Yeah. I can only imagine what it's like for the people who've been traveling with him day in and day out for years. I'm sure that maybe they rally and they want to do it for Jason in the next game, but I just don't see it happening.
All right, elsewhere. The Golden State Warriors without Steph Curry, the hope was that they could maybe steal Game 4, maybe ensure Game 6 so that Steph could get back. But the Minnesota Timberwolves had no intention of that happening. Behind 30 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists from Anthony Edwards, the Wolves get a 117-110 win over the Warriors. They sweep the 2-game set in Golden State and head back for a possible elimination game of the Warriors at home. In this one, Jimmy Butler, 14 points, 5 of 9, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, a minus 30 in a 7-point loss, Haize. Jimmy was minus 30 in a 7-point loss. Let's hear from Golden's Locked On Warriors here with their reaction and whether the Warriors are cooked.
In no universe should Brandon Podziemski be taking more shots than Jimmy Butler. And if he is, he better be making them. He was 3 of 14. He was 0 for 4. He turned it over a couple of times. The defense for Podziemski's all right. That's not the issue here. It's just the fact that he can't put the ball in the basket and continuously takes some bad shots. Those two stuck out the most. And Podziemski, to me, it goes back to Steve Kerr having the yo-yo and being so willing to try different things at different times. And he was really set on his 8 guys or whatever it was in this game, despite Podziemski not working. He didn't go to Moody until really late. And I know Moody hasn't put the ball in the bucket in like 3 games until later in this one. But if it's broken, you got to try and fix something. And you've been talking about the depth all season. And look, at the end of the day, you may just not be good enough. Moody.
might just not be good enough. That would be my entire story of the Warriors with or without Curry. But without Curry, it's a tough sledding. Haize, I thought they were going to get this one. I thought they would will their way and just find a way to scrap this one out. Do you think that there's any way the Warriors get out of Game 5 and push a Game 6 with Curry coming back potentially for Game 6?
Absolutely. I mean, there's always a chance for the Warriors. I mean, they haven't looked great, and I'm not giving them a high chance, but there's always a chance for the Warriors to win a game. I think you got Jimmy. You got Dre. There's always a chance that they can muddy up the game enough defensively to put them in a situation to win. But I think the Wolves are just playing with so much confidence right now. Julius Randle is playing the best basketball probably of his career right now. So I'm not giving them a high chance. I'd say there's probably a 20% chance they can push it.
We'll see what happens in Game 5 coming up. Speaking of Game 5s, we got two big ones tonight as the Cavs try and extend their series, and the Thunder try and firmly wrest control back from the Denver Nuggets with a chance to go up 3-2. We'll talk about that coming up on Locked On NBA. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Aaron Gordon had 13 rebound opportunities in Game 4. Now, I'm not expecting the Thunder to miss every shot under the sun the way both teams did in Game 4, but I do think that Aaron Gordon's line of 13.5 assists and rebounds is really soft. I think AG is going to be able to get you more than that. He's playing small ball center point guard in those backup lineups. Lots of opportunities there. How can the $200 in bonus bets add to the excitement if your first $5 bet wins? You can get in on, man, this NBA title sequence seems wide open. We're going to talk about that coming up. You can bet on a lot of long shots here over at FanDuel. New to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We'll be right back on Locked On NBA. Final segment here on Locked On NBA. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. No Doug Branson today. He'll be back on Thursday after getting back from the draft, lottery, and the combine this week for covering Locked On Hornets, which you should follow over there. Haize, we got 2 Game 5s tonight. Let's talk about Pacers first. Pacers have a chance to close the series, but they got to do it on the road. Donovan Mitchell went through shoot around. He was on the court. MRI was negative. That was a very, honestly, that was a big deal to me. That just the fact that he was out there and they're not like, well, he's got to rest as much as humanly possible and get treatment around the clock. If Mitchell plays, I think the Cavs win this game. And I think they can come back in the series, but they need Mitchell in Game 5.
Yeah, they're gonna absolutely need Mitchell in Game 5. If they don't have Mitchell, it's no point. And that's not to say they don't have other talent on the team, but he is the engine. He is the heart of that team. He is the team's best player. He is when they need a bucket. That's who you're gonna go to more times than not. I don't know how much credit I'm giving the Cavs anymore. I know I'm still drinking my Cavs fans' tears. It's still there, filled up, because they've been whining a lot lately. And good, they deserve to do that. But the Cavs as a team are a really good team. But I just think between injuries, between not being 100% healthy, sometimes it's just not your year. And I don't think this is their playoff run, unfortunately. They'll be back next year, though.
I think they're live here, man. I think the best way to think of this is, look, they started off the series without Garland. Then they were without Garland, Mobley, and Hunter. Even at home, I don't think it was reasonable to expect that win, right? Like without Garland, Mobley, and Hunter, okay? And even that one, the Pacers stole it. So like this should be 1-1. This should be 1-1. And then I didn't expect the Pacers to lose both at home. Like Game 3 was a predictable, like the Cavs got healthy, got everybody back, stomped them. I expected the Pacers to respond in Game 4. This should be 2-2, not 3-1. Now, that does lead, obviously, to a much higher chance that the Pacers are going to be able to pull this off. But if this was 2-2, you'd like Cavs in Game 5, Pacers Game 6, and then we'll see what happens in Game 7. If the Cavs can just get one result to tilt their way on a coin flip situation, they can force a Game 7, I think, here, because they can win one outright and still be able to extend the series. I don't think they're dead yet.
The thing is, I would agree with that if we knew they were healthy. They're not. So I don't that's the determining factor. If you told me right now that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be fully healthy for the rest of this, Donovan Mitchell is going to be good to go. I listen, as much as they're down 3-1, I wouldn't be surprised if they could push it to a Game 7. But with them not being 100% healthy, the way that the Pacers, how well coached Rick Carlisle is doing a masterclass in coaching right now. Those things plus the injuries, I'm just not giving the Cavs much chance. I'm not saying that's impossible. I'm just not giving them much chance.
Nuggets and Thunder game 5 tonight. Honestly, it's a 2-2 series. So whoever comes out of this series isn't that with a loss, or this game with a loss isn't drawn dead. We'll see kind of what happens. I'm expecting an OKC blowout tonight. I think they go up big in this game, and the momentum and narrative shifts, and it's like, oh, the Thunder are sensing their momentum and their opportunity, and then the Nuggets win game 6 again and force this to a game 7. That's my expectation. What's yours?
Yeah, I expect this to go 7 games. The OKC Thunder are a team that they're back in OKC tonight, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to win this game. They're going to come out with that fire that they came out with in game 2. I think they're going to completely kill the Nuggets today, and I think it's going to go game 7. I still, as of right now, I still have the Nuggets favored to win this series, but the Thunder will win tonight.
All right, let's say that the odds and probabilities play out and we get chalk from this point on in the second round, which would be Pacers, Knicks, Thunder, Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Who's winning the title?
It really comes down to the matchups. I'd still pick the Thunder. If you said I'll go chalk, I'd still pick the Thunder. But if for some reason the Thunder can't make it past Denver, that's where things start getting interesting. So I still give it to Thunder right now. But if the Thunder don't make it past Denver, I think it's wide open at that point.
If this goes 7 and Minnesota wraps it in 5 and gets time to rest, I think Minnesota's live to beat OKC.
Okay.
Indiana and New York. New York won 3-1 in the regular season. We saw what happened last year in the playoffs. Knicks fans will obviously point to the injuries. OG Anunoby, Mitch Robinson, and Jalen Brunson hurt by the end of that series. I get it. On the other hand, this Pacers team seems like they're made of different stuff this year. That's going to be a heck of a series if we get Pacers-Knicks, especially with the history between these two franchises. I think it's going to be a tremendous series. Haize, if we get Wolves versus Pacers,
we deserve it. We deserve for something completely unexpected to happen. When was the last completely unexpected finals for you, Matt?
I don't remember one. There's never been so there's only been, this is my favorite stat. There have only been 2 champions more than a 3rd seed. Only 2. It was 95 Rockets and 1969 Celtics. That's it. That's all we got. Teams have made the finals with more than a 3 seed, but a top 3 seed always wins. And usually we've done this before. There's the 40-20 rule, 40 wins before 20 losses. That's been a determining factor or an indicator of who's going to win the title. And if the Celtics without Tatum and the Cavs go down, OKC is the last team remaining of that ilk. So all of history says this is OKC if those other teams go down. They're the only team that's got the SRS and the 40-20 rule and top 3 seed. They're the only team left with that kind of profile. But man, Pacers, Knicks, Thunder, Wolves. If I told you back in March that that's what we were going to get, no one would have believed me. No one would have believed me. It's a wild series of outcomes. The Knicks were up 7 when Tatum got hurt last night. And that's one of the things that we didn't talk about the Knicks at all because I want to give Tatum room to breathe there. And it's obviously a huge story. It's the worst part of this is for Tatum. I'm heartbroken for him. It sucks for Celtics fans. You only have so many championship windows, and this one might be cut extremely short. You got the one title, but Boston deals and they're always looking at multiples. They're looking to expand the lead over the Lakers as much as possible. But the Knicks do deserve credit. They were going to be up 3-1 no matter what. They were going to be up 3-1 on Boston. And that means that they were very likely to advance anyway. I just don't remember any time when I've been less certain when we got to the conference finals of who was going to win the title. I do not know who's going to win the title. You're right. It's probably OKC, but a lot of the matchups are fascinating from this perspective. And I don't know what plot twist we're going to get next.
Let me ask you this. We have out of the 4 series here in the second round, 3 of them are 3-1. Are you giving any of the teams chances to come back from being down 3-1?
Yes, I think Cavs are alive. I really do. You know, I think
I agree with that.
You're right that they're not healthy. Like Garland is obviously he's a shell of himself. He's trying to play through this turf toe, and it's just brutal. I honestly think he should sit. I think they were in that game and able to win game 1. And they were honestly, if they had Mobley and Hunter, I think they win game 2. Game 4 was a blowout. There was no kind of chance there. Again, I look at the script of the series and I'm just like, everything tilted. This is also the other stat. The Pacers have a 65% effective field goal percentage in this series. Okay. They've generated great looks, but they're hitting at an unsustainable rate. Now, that's sports. That happens sometimes. They got to have one more good shooting night or the Cavs to quit, and it doesn't matter. They get out of the series. And that can happen in 5, 6, or 7 in the Pacers advance. And that's why, yes, the odds are the Pacers are going to advance. But when I look at the kind of flow of the series, I still am like, no, look, if Donovan's okay and they get 5 and all the pressure is on Indy in game 6, that is actually where I want to get Indy. Indy's great when they're the dog and they want to go from dog to front runner. That's where they want to be. And I like the Pacers a lot, but that's where they're comfortable at, is constantly kind of staying ahead of you. If they get to hey, you got a chance to make the conference finals again, but you got to win this game 6 versus a fully healthy Cavs team, I think Cavs are live there. But Boston without Tatum, no way. I think the Warriors are sunk because they lost that game 4.
Yeah, I agree with the Cavs. Like I said, if the Cavs were healthy, I'd be right there with you. My biggest question is the fact that they're not healthy. Celtics are done. Warriors are intriguing, but no Steph. So yeah, I think by default it has to be the Cavs that have the best chance to come back down from 3-1. But I wouldn't be surprised if none of these teams do.
All right, it's going to do it for Locked On NBA. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you enjoyed the show. Check out Locked On Game Night. They break down every game, every play, every possession from the NBA postseason, rolling on all throughout the playoffs. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll talk more lottery. We'll talk about whatever comes out of this OKC Denver game, and we'll try and get into whatever plot twists are waiting for us, plus reaction to the news on Jason Tatum's injury. More on that tomorrow. Thanks for joining us here on Locked On NBA.